It's me again. Oh, look how pretty that is.
Fun stuff.
I love this part. Oh, that is beautiful, Chef. Bon appetit.
Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera Show. You know, for those of you that might not know, last season we did a whole episode on pies. We had so much feedback on Facebook, Instagram. Obviously you guys love pie, but we decided to bring it back with a twist. So we're going to do 2 savory pies today that are phenomenal. We're going to start with shepherd's pie. I know there's a lot of favorites out there. This is one of mine. It's really hearty, full of flavor, lots of vegetables, has a great crust. We're going to cook it in a cast iron skillet. Then we're going to do a brand new recipe. This is an apple cheddar sausage pie. There's cheddar cheese in the crust. Can you imagine those 2 flavors together, apple and sausage? Then in Vera's Corner today, I'm going to show you how to decorate pies. So we got a lot to do. Let's get started. You know, shepherd's pie is truly one of my favorites. It's just a great comfort dish. The aroma of it and the flavors are just fantastic. So probably my favorite part of the recipe is rendering the bacon and then the lamb to make this pie so spectacular. So what we've done ahead was we went ahead and got the bacon rendered. I drained it on some paper towel. I left about a tablespoon of the oil in the pan and then added in my lamb. So now what you want to do here is you want to make sure the lamb is good and browned. If you're going to double this recipe to make it for a larger amount, just do half of the lamb at a time because lamb actually has a lot of liquid in it and it's going to kind of create a lot of moisture and steam. So to get that crispy crunch on that meat, just do half of it at a time. So I've gone ahead and gotten that done. I've left a tablespoon of the bacon drippings in the pan. Now I'm going to add in some olive oil and a little bit more of the bacon drippings because I'm going to start my vegetables. So I've got chopped up carrots. You know, this is when that seasoned Lodge cast iron skillet comes in so handy. All right, my celery, onions, all of our favorite things that smell so good are just great with these meats, and a little bit of salt. All right, so while this is cooking down and those vegetables are getting cooked through, the onion's translucent, I'm gonna come over here to a spice that you might not be familiar with. Certainly you probably wondered what this crazy looking thing is at the grocery store. This is fennel. And fennel is like licorice, and actually, as a child, I loved licorice candy. You know, that smell just kind of takes me back to my childhood, but it's just a unique ingredient to use. So we're gonna do this very much like we did the onion, where I'm kind of making my slits. And if you don't think you like this flavor, I want you to at least try it. I'm gonna be like a child. Say at least try it, so that you can see the difference in what this does in this recipe. All right, so I'm gonna get this added in and we're gonna let this cook down. All right, this looks just perfect. Those onions are translucent, so vegetables are nice and tender. Now I'm gonna add in tomato paste. So this is gonna give it some good flavor, some good color, and also some acidity that'll help with those vegetables. So mix that in, just get a good smooth look to that. And now we're gonna add in flour. So this is our thickening agent. And I've got this on about a medium heat. You know, it's just a beautiful combination of vegetables. And I can smell that fennel, it's so good. Right now I'm gonna add in rosemary and thyme. And my ingredients, my liquid ingredients here are also awesome. We've got some red wine, and that's when the smell really becomes vibrant. So get that mixed in. And then beef broth. And this is gonna cook down and it's going to get thick. So that's just going to take just a few more minutes. And remember, we talked about the lamb and how great it smells and that you want to get it nice and crispy. So I'm sure some of you are thinking, I'm not really sure if I like lamb. You know, you can do the same pie with ground beef and call it cottage pie instead of shepherd's pie. So we're going to let this cook down. During the break, I'm going to get started on the topping, and then we'll have this pie all ready to go in the oven. So come back with me in just a few minutes. We were kind of busy during the break, so we got those vegetables cooked down, we added in the bacon and the lamb, and what we were looking for here is to get a really good coated spoon with that wonderful gravy. And this is actually the pan that we're going to cook this in. So now all we need is the topping. And you know, it's kind of like a regular pie that has a mile-high meringue on top, like lemon icebox. The mile high on this is going to be the mashed potatoes. So we used our Wolf steam oven today to do the potatoes. The Yukon Gold. I just cut these potatoes in half, put them in the steam oven, and they do all the work for you, and they're just wonderful. So this is a very starchy potato. That's why we asked you specifically to use the Yukon Gold. This is a ricer, so I'm sure you're wondering, what in the world is this? This is a very unique instrument to use when you're doing something like trying to rice vegetables. So it really opens up the carbs in this and gives you just a stringy process to this so that you can mash them a lot faster. So I get that finished. And I'm actually going to use my brand new KitchenAid mixer today. I'm so excited. The pistachio green and that matte finish. I feel like I just bought a pair of new shoes. Probably like 4 pairs of new shoes. All right, so this is ready to go. And you know, even if you weren't going to make the shepherd's pie, this whole mashed potato business is a pretty good recipe in and of itself. So let's add that into our mixing bowl. And you see, it's almost like dough. There's a lot of starch in a Yukon Gold potato. All right, so our other ingredients that are going to go into this is whole milk. All right, so I'm going to get that started mixing. Let me lock it in. So let's add in that whole milk. We've got some beaten eggs. And as always, our recipes are on our website at VeryVera.com. And we've got sour cream. So this is everything that you would use if you were making your own mashed potatoes. Probably haven't thought about the egg part. And the reason the eggs are in here is because this is actually going to puff up. The eggs are part of what makes this kind of grow when it's baking, and will give you that nice meringue look. All right, so now we've got the salt and pepper and the butter. Cheers. Can't have too much of that. So let me turn this up just a little bit. And again, as I mentioned, if lamb does not appeal to you, ground beef and making this a cottage pie would also be a great option. So that looks pretty good there. I'm going to just transfer over now to our prepared pan. All right. This is where it pays off that I go to the gym Monday through Friday. All right, so I'm just going to put this on top, and then we'll spread it around and get a good look on it. Oh, it smells so good. I could just take a giant spoon and just eat this right now. So just take it and move it over to each side. You can do some nice swirls on it, just like you would a meringue. So we'll finish this up. We're going to get it in the oven and get a nice golden look to the top. And when we have Vera's Corner today, I'm going to show you some different ways to decorate your pies. And then when we come back from the break, we're gonna get started on the apple sausage cheddar cheese crust pie that is great. So come back with me in just a few minutes. You know, pie can have the wow factor, and I know I've shown you how to do a lattice crust on the show before, but today I'm going to share with you several unique ways to make your pie spectacular. Let's start with a thick lattice. Cut about 6 2-inch strips from your pie dough using a pastry wheel, knife, and a straight edge. Then lay half of the strips evenly spaced across the pie. Rotate the pie 90 degrees. Now repeat the same process as you would for a traditional lattice. Once all the strips are woven, crimp is desired. For a braided crust, cut about 12 1/2-inch wide strips from your rolled out pie dough using a straight edge. Pinch 3 strips together at the top and gently braid just as you would hair. When you near the end of the braid, pinch the ends together. If there's excess dough on either end, trim it away. Repeat with the remaining strips until you have enough braided pieces to cover the pie. Lay the braids across the pie, leaving about 3/4 of an inch between the braids. Finally, a honeycomb pie crust pattern. Lay your pie crust on a flat surface and use a small round cutter to cut out evenly spaced circles to make the pattern. Lay on top of your pie filling and crimp. Bake your pies as you normally would for a pie crust that's sure to impress. Okay, you know everybody loves a great pie, so I hope you'll try some of those tips today on how to put the wow factor on your pie crust. All right, so this is a new recipe to me. I absolutely love it. It's a sausage and apple pie with a cheddar cheese crust. So what we've done ahead is we've gone ahead and cooked the sausage down and just get all the fat out of that, drain it off, put it to the side. Now we're going to take that same pan and I'm going to add in a combination of red and green apples to this pan. So what we're trying to do here is just get those nice and cooked down, but the best part is all the other ingredients that go in. So we're going to start with brown sugar. We're going to then add in thyme, rosemary, salt and pepper, and allspice. So I'm telling you, when just to say what this is to me, is just amazing. It's such a unique combination of things, the apple and the sausage. And we like to leave the peel on. The recipe didn't actually say, but Josh, who's our associate producer, says, you know, I always leave the peel on when I cook apples. So we decided to leave the peel on, and I'm so glad we did, because those colors show up in the pie when you cut it. All right, so now I'm gonna add in some apple cider vinegar, turn that heat up. You know, the thing that we love about this Wolf induction oven is when you hit that boost feature, that temperature goes up quick, which really makes it great. So what we're gonna do here is let this cook down until it's fork tender. I have to tell you, I haven't been this excited about a new recipe in a long time. So just look at how wonderful this has cooked down. It's not real thick, but it's thick enough. And when you factor in the flavors here, the allspice, the brown sugar, apple cider, rosemary, thyme, all of these different things, it is just very, very different. I don't think you're gonna find anybody that's had this before. So we've added this now to the fork tender apples and the sausage. And you know, you can use mild, you can use hot, whatever you think works well. So we're not using any pre-made pie crust, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to make our own pie crust, which is so easy you will be ashamed if you don't do it yourself. So during the break, I got the pie crust done. I used flour, butter that's really, really cold, cut it into tablespoons and then do that into fourths. You're gonna add in your salt. Once you've got that mixed together where it's nice and almost like a course meal, then you're gonna add in your freshly grated cheddar cheese. Once that's incorporated, then you're gonna take your ice cold water, and it's gonna use anywhere from 8 to 10 tablespoons of that water to get the dough where it comes together. Once that's done, you're gonna divide it into 2 parts, make a little medallion out of it, wrap it up in saran wrap and put it in the refrigerator or the freezer. If you're working fast, you might have to use the freezer. But then you're going to roll it out. So when you roll it out, just take your time, flour your board, flour your rolling pin, make sure you're using it in a circular motion. And what you're trying to do is get it to be the size of the pie pan. So that's what I've got here. I've got the crust already ready in the pie pan. So now I'm gonna add all of this into this pie pan for the filling. And you see what I mean? Didn't Josh have a great idea about using those apples that have the peelings on them? Love it. So you've got all that juice and it's just the right amount. Okay, now for the top of the crust. So here's the other piece that we rolled out. I've folded it in half. Then you're gonna fold it in fourths. You're gonna take a knife and make your slits on both sides for your vents. Lay that in the center of the pie. Open it up just like a blanket. And then you're gonna crimp the sides and pierce it with a fork where it comes together. Cut off all of your remaining, and then this is gonna go into the oven and cook until it's golden brown on the top. You're gonna do a little egg wash on the top before you put it in. Be sure to put it on a sheet pan before it goes in the oven, just so it doesn't spill over. So when we come back from the break, we're gonna get all of this presented really beautifully. So let's get all these flavors going. Come back with me in just a few minutes. The best time today with these recipes, and I hope you have too. You know, it's always fun to go in and kind of test yourself on things that are different, and one of the recipes today was brand new for us, so that was fun. But it's because of all of you and the feedback from Instagram and Facebook on what you're looking for in our programming. And you loved the episode we did last season on pies, so we put a twist on it, as Vera always does on the show, and we did savory pies today. So let's get back and look at what we did. We started with the shepherd's pie, which we have done in our Lodge cast iron skillet. So it's just hearty looking. It's almost like you're at a camp out with this dish. It really was wonderful. Okay, so we rendered the bacon, we cooked the lamb down, and the secret there is you don't want to put too much in the pan at once. You want that meat to get a nice brown crispness to the outside of it. And then we added in all of the vegetables, the seasonings. We let that cook down and almost turned into this fabulous gravy. We put that in the skillet, and then we made the topping. So this is like the meringue on a sweet pie, but this is the mile-high potatoes that becomes the topping to this pie. So butter, eggs, all kinds of sour cream. It's just almost a traditional whipped topping on a pie. And the Yukon potato is the one that we recommend for this because there's a lot of starch in it. It's really creamy. It's gonna have a lot of flavor. All right, so we've dipped it up on a plate here for you to see. It really is almost a meal in itself. So that with a salad and a bread, you're good to go. All right, so I hate to say it, but the star of the show today is the sausage and apple pie, which was the new recipe. We baked it in a beautiful pottery pie plate, which of course you know I love pottery. So look how beautiful it is, and let's walk through that process. So we cooked the sausage and the apples. We put in brown sugar, allspice. We had thyme, rosemary, apple cider vinegar. It got really thick when we took those apples out. You just want the apples to be at fork tender. We left the peelings on just to give it a little bit of color when you slice it. But the best part is this pie crust that's so easy, has freshly grated cheddar cheese in it. So it's really a pop with those apples. I know my grandmother used to put cheddar cheese on top of her hot apple pie instead of ice cream, and I absolutely loved it. So in terms of the presentation, you know, we've got a favorite quilt, we've got some of my pie books that I love, and just kind of a rustic look to things. So just remember, always think about your vessel when you're doing this, because it really makes for the presentation. And as I always say on the VeryVera Show, no matter what you do it in good taste. We've got a lot of good tasting recipes today, and I hope you'll try them. Come back next week. Hey, I'm Vera Stewart, and I've got some exciting news. After almost 35 years in the food business, I've written my first cookbook. The VeryVera cookbook contains over 70 of my most well-loved recipes, from breakfast to dessert and everything in between. Renowned photographer Peter Frank Edwards beautifully captures the story behind each recipe. You can order your copy on our website, veryvera.com, or on Amazon. Order yours today.